Let's get into some headlines from across the state now that I've insulted the people who have done such good work for us. Anyway, let's get to some headlines from across the state. We're going to start, unfortunately, with a couple of bummer headlines.
Yeah.
Which is not fun. But we're going to start with some news that came out last week about legendary Texas A&M coach and, of course, former Dave Campbell's Texas football cover boy, R.C. Slocum. Coach Slocum has been diagnosed with Hodgkin lymphoma. So he is undergoing treatment. Texas A&M put out a statement about this. Coach Slocum, of course, is a former Dave Campbell's Texas football cover boy and a legend around these parts. Very sad news. Of course, he's the winningest coach in Texas A&M history. He is a member of the College Football Hall of Fame. He is on the College Football Playoff committee rather. And by the way, his winning percentage is the best in Southwest Conference history. And so it's very sad. Now I believe he's going to. They said that he will require chemotherapy and will undergo that in College Station. So certainly hold a thought, say a prayer for the great R.C. Slocum, the legend R.C. Slocum, because he's a guy that we need in the football world. So hold a thought, say a prayer for Coach R.C. Slocum as he undergoes chemotherapy to treat Hodgkin's lymphoma. Another bummer headline coming out this week was coming from Tennessee, and you're thinking, that's not in Texas.
That's not Texas.
But freshman quarterback Caden Salter, who of course led Cedar Hill to the state championship game last year, has been dismissed by the Tennessee Volunteers program. He was arrested on charges of simple possession and driving without a license last week. He was previously suspended from the team in March because of an incident at an on-campus residence hall. He got reinstated, and then he apparently was pulled over and caught with driving without a license and had simple possession. So he has been kicked off of the Tennessee program. Obviously, right now, he is a little bit of damaged goods. Do you know what I mean? The talent
there's a stain there.
Yeah, the talent's never been an issue with him. He's a super talented guy, but obviously having some problems right now from the conduct perspective. And so I'm interested to see where he lands. I don't think this is the last we've heard of Caden Salter.
No.
But I would expect to see him land somewhere, but under very strict, depending on where he lands, some very strict kind of guidelines on here's what's going to happen, and if you don't straighten up and fly right, you're going to be gone again.
And of course, we always hope that he can figure out the
Absolutely.
off-the-field issues, because we never want to see
You
talent like that or a good kid.
For sure. You want to root for him.
Yep.
You want to root for him.
You want to be able to root for him.
So there's that. Okay, let's get to some happier news.
Yes.
We'll start. There's a lot of college football or high school football coaching changes. Okay. I guess we can now report this, and I sent you. Things have changed since I sent you this graphic. But Cedar Park has made a hire. Cedar Park was probably the biggest remaining coaching vacancy. Of course, it came open with Carl Apsek left to go take the job at Barbers Hill. They have now made a hire. This is being reported by Bob Ballou down in the Austin area. And he's very trustworthy, not just because he's a Mizzou grad, but he's pretty darn good. This apparently we missed it because it was during the 7-on-7 tournament. It apparently came down Friday, but he said that multiple sources are reporting that the new coach at Cedar Park will be Michael Quintero. Michael Quintero was the head coach at Red Oak. So here's kind of how this had happened. Okay. And I'll kind of take you behind the scenes of our sourcing and stuff like that. We had heard Matt Stepp, our Dave Campbell's Texas Football High School Football Insider, had heard that that Michael Quintero was going to be the guy, but we were not able to confirm that independently. We weren't able to get that on the record independently. Obviously, Bob Ballou is a guy who we trust and a guy who's very, very good at his job. But then a lot of things kind of came about that said that kind of fell into place.
Right.
Because, for example, Matt Stepp called me this morning, and he said, hey, Red Oak is posted. The Red Oak head football coach job is vacant. It's open. That's a job that's publicly available, and so you know that's the kind of thing you can report, that Red Oak is open. That's on the record. And so piecing together those two things, that makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
Now, Michael Quintero was on Chris Ross's staff when he was at Cedar Park, and then he followed, he was on his staff at Red Oak. When Chris Ross left to go to Lovejoy, he was promoted to become their Red Oak's head coach.
Stepp said he thinks that there was some coordination with Joe Willis as well.
Yeah, I believe
there's definitely a long line of history there.
He's got a history there at Cedar Park, so he's returning back to the Austin area to take over at Cedar Park. Michael Quintero, reported by Bob Ballou down there in Austin, is going to be the new head coach at Cedar Park. That would leave Red Oak open. So that's another kind of those dominoes.
That's another big name gig.
I'll tell you, man, June has been crazy this year. I had a conversation with a coach out there at Stevan 7, and he brought this up. He's like, have you ever seen a June like this? I said, no, it's been a lot of kind of wide open stuff. And there may be more coming, hint, hint. There may be some things coming, so keep an eye out, especially on Matt Stepp's Twitter feed, because there may be some more breaking news coming down. Let's get some more news and notes from the Texas high school football coaching realm as, again, a busy June in coaching changes gets through. McAllen Memorial has promoted their defensive coordinator, Moses Patterson, to be their interim head coach. Moses Patterson taking over there at McAllen Memorial. Coach Bill Littleton retired on June 2nd after 22 years as the head coach at Cuero and McAllen Memorial. Moses Patterson will be the interim head coach for the 2021 season. So we will see how that goes there with Coach Patterson. But Moses Patterson, the new head coach for 2021 of the McAllen Memorial Mustangs. Hereford has made a hire. Yes. Hereford, of course, came up when Don DeLozier stepped down after 18 seasons at Hereford.
Long time
He's stepping down and stepping into a new role with Hereford ISD, staying with Hereford ISD. The new head coach will be Frisco Reedy's offensive coordinator, Adam Nairn, moving from the DFW Metroplex out west to take over at Hereford with the White Faces. He got hired just past week. Decatur. We talked about this last week.
Yeah.
Of course, the strange and I would say unfortunate situation at Decatur with Mike Fuller kind of being, he resigns his post, but that's a loaded way to put it. In any case, they have named an interim head coach for 2021. It's been their offensive coordinator, Ty Lang. Ty Lang is going to be the new interim head coach at Decatur as he gets promoted in place of Mike Fuller. Boyd has made a hire. Speaking of Decatur, Boyd has made a hire. They've gotten the Decatur defensive coordinator, Ian Ritchie. He got hired on Saturday.
I wonder if that was a precursor to the offensive coordinator taking over, or kind of a betting system there.
I wonder if he's like, I'm getting out of here.
Right.
I don't know the situation, but he is taking over at Boyd. The one thing I will say, he's a Boyd alum, and so that thing came open when Brandon Hopkins stepped down from the head football coach's role. He's going to stay on. He's going to stay on and be their softball coach, but Brandon Hopkins is not going to be the Boyd head football coach and AD. That will now be Ian Ritchie, who will be at least the head football coach. I don't know about the AD part, but that is of course important there. But the new head coach at Boyd, Ian Ritchie, who is a Boyd alum. Monte Alto has made a hire. Monte Alto, the mighty Blue Devils. Robert Meza is out after 3 seasons. They started football back in 2012, and they've really run the gamut with a lot of different coaches. Robert Meza is out after 2 seasons. The new head coach, in fact, Matt Stepp notes on TexasFootball.com that no head coach has lasted more than 3 seasons at Monte Alto. The new head coach will be Wally Gonzalez. Wally Gonzalez was promoted on June 21st to be the new head coach and athletic director at Monte Alto. Riesel has made a hire. Riesel, of course, came open when Keith Stiffelmeyer left to go join the staff over at Lake Worth. He resigned after 2 years. Scurry Rosser's defensive coordinator, Tyler Crow, will be the new head coach at Riesel for 2021. And finally, Agua Dulce, the mighty Longhorns. They were looking for a new head coach after Robert Beard left after 9 relatively successful seasons at Agua Dulce. He went 42-50 overall. They went 10-2 back in 2019. He is left, and they have a new coach in Gary Hartman. Gary Hartman is going to be the new head coach at Agua Dulce of the Longhorns. He was a longtime Teloso Midway assistant there in the Corpus Christi area. So that is all the news that's fit to print. You can find all the coaching changes at TexasFootball.com.
Do you know what the total number is up to now? I know we were over 200, and that was at the early part of June, which is insane.
Boy, I mean, it's going to be over. It says 187 plus 49 is a rough estimate. So you're talking, 230 something.
And then now we're just
and we're adding
flipping
more.
and flopping.
And now we're flipping more because, for example, now Red Oak's open.
Exactly.
Right? Red Oak's going to be open, so that's going to be another change.
Yeah.
It'll
be very interested to see after the first week.
Well, and I mean, guys, I just can't stress enough, how late in the game it is.
Oh, yeah.
How late in the game. I mean, coaching school is in 3 weeks.
And then
after that, summer workouts.
It's summer workouts.
I mean, you're getting into 2-a-days right away. So it's a very, very interesting time here in Texas high school football.